101. This is Mar. We're starting our third cycle, which is now focusing on the foundation of our centers. So we started out with the foundation of our breath, breathing through our nostrils. We're going to continue that awareness, practicing maintaining the awareness of breathing through our nostrils as we increase our challenge. We're juggling more balls neurologically. And maintain awareness of our feet. I've got a new angle here so that I'm in a more balanced orientation on my uneven platform versus how I was working the first 6 weeks. I think my body will appreciate this from here on out because it's more even for me. The camera angle's a little wonky, but I think it still works for you. And okay, so maintain awareness of the feet, maintain awareness of the breath, and now we're moving to awareness of our centers. And we start with our level O, and our hands are connected. And we're stationary spheres again. So by awareness, really feel your center. Use your hands. Do some level 1. Let the hands come apart to feel your center. Feel where your body is. Feel your hips hinge. Bring hands together to O. Feel that. Hands back to 1. And really get a sense of that center. Now, O hands again. So your hands are out. You're not touching yourself anymore, but you have a sense of your center, a sense of the middle of your body. Why is that important? Well, our spines are in the center of our bodies, right? And part of what supports our spines is the muscles that surround them. Our muscles also provide support, a foundational structural support for the organs that are inside of us. When we're aware of how our muscles provide structural support for our body, we can better support our bodies. And the way our abdominal muscles work is that you have an outer layer that pulls in, and there's an inner layer that pushes out. And often people are either on one end or the other. They're either pulling in all the time, or maybe they're just pushing out because they're not consciously. If you're pushing out all the time, it's because you're not really engaging, and that's just the natural posture, just belly out. Or some people just push out because that's how they gain the foundation for supporting their backs. And then there's other people who want to not look like they've got a big gut hanging out, so they pull in, and they're always pulling in, and then that always pulling in creates an imbalance as well. So either too much slack this way, or too much resistance this way is too much either way. But when we balance it out so that we're pulling in and pushing out at the same time, we now have a more solid foundation to help support our spines. And it's not just the abdominal muscles here, it's also these oblique muscles get engaged in the process, which are the side muscles. And that helps provide better support for the back muscles, for the erector muscles and our latissimus muscles, which come across from the front over to the back. By having the front of our bodies supporting us and holding us up, it's like a girdle that holds our bodies up. So, for example, when I go like this, my stomach is lax, my shoulders roll forward more easily, because this is shortened, and I've shortened my lung capacity as well. I can't breathe as openly in this posture as I can in an open posture. Part of what helps to maintain that open posture isn't the shoulders back, but it's this here. It's these muscles pulling us up. And so when these muscles are up and held upright, now we have an open space here. And with this open space here, it's easier to breathe more freely. It's easier to be upright, to have our shoulders back and have our heads up so that we have the what David Lauderstein at my massage school in TLC in Austin, the Lauderstein Conway School of Massage, calls graceful verticality. Why do we want to maintain that? Because the more upright we are, the easier it is to stay upright. Just because gravity. When we go forward one way, the other way, then we get wobbly. The more upright we are, the easier it is to stay upright. But to do that, we have to put ourselves and train our muscles to support us in an upright posture. So it's holding this open here, up, an awareness of that, an awareness of not pushing out, not pulling in, but somewhere in between. And sometimes to get a sense of where that is, I'll push out, suck in, push out, suck in, push out, suck in, and then relax into a middle ground in between those two. And I feel like that's a good place for me to be. So now as I'm moving and I'm doing my level O's, I've got my center in place there, and I'm thinking about it. Why am I thinking about it? So that I maintain it engaged. So that I maintain myself in this state of in between slack and resistance. And life is like that. There's a fine balance between slack and resistance. If we're too resistant, then there's too much tension in ways that pulls on the body, and it can be imbalanced. If there's too much slack, then also not enough support, and that pulls on the body and then creates tension from the parts of the body that have to create and have to support more to make up for the slack. So when we do our part to balance between the slack and the tension, find that place between, we get our tightrope at a more navigable tension. It's the best way to put it. When we're walking a tightrope, if it's too slack, then it's going to be very challenging to navigate. And if it's too tight, it's going to be very challenging to navigate. It has to have some looseness to it, but not too much looseness. So that's part of what we're learning to find within our own bodies as we maintain that awareness of our centers and holding ourselves upright. It's important to hold ourselves upright because our nervous systems interpret a hunched over posture as a posture of a mammal that is hunting or hiding. Either we're hiding from prey or we're hiding from predators. And when we stand up, open and upright, it signifies, it lets our bodies and our nervous systems know that we're safe, because we are exposing our very delicate organs to the world. Because in this position, we could get gored by a beast or a spear chucked at us, and we're much more likely to die if something hits us here or here or here or here, because of the vital organs that this part of our body possesses. So by animals, quadrupeds tend to have their vital organs, a lot of mammals, protected by having it to the ground. Humans, we evolved to be upright. And part of that evolutionary process is the sense of going from a protective posture, survival posture, to freedom, open, safe. I'm safe because I don't have to worry about scaring away my food, and I'm safe because I don't have to worry about a predator or an enemy coming after me and finding me. And I can hold myself open. with some level 2 arms, expansive, expansive. So something to think about as you're practicing your level 1 and understanding how our nervous systems process information based on just our body postures. So it's important for us to do our part to keep our bodies in balance and upright and open, so our nervous systems acknowledge and recognize that in this moment right now, within my sphere of effect, I am safe. And if I am not safe, then I need to do something about that, make a change, until I feel that I can stand upright and open and safe. That's something that we do. That's how our bodies help us navigate, is when we recognize, especially if we train ourselves to have an upright and open posture. That's when we most notice and become aware that our bodies are telling us that something needs to shift and change, because our bodies will inherently go into a protective posture when we feel the need to protect ourselves. Whether it's emotional or physical, that's what our bodies do. They hunch. But if we train ourselves to most of the time be open, move through space freely, practice being aware and grounded in our bodies, then we can tell when our bodies automatically close in that we need to pay attention. There's something going on. Something needs to shift and change. And the sooner that we make the shift and change, the sooner we can process whatever the situation is and move on and continue navigating through life, appreciating what's going on. And recognize and remember that appreciation is not necessarily something that we enjoy or like. Appreciation just means that we recognize the value of the situation because we can find the lesson and we can recognize the lesson. And sometimes part of the lesson is in letting go or stepping away from and recognizing when that needs to happen, when we need to create distance. And that is today's level O. Remember to keep awareness of breath. Inhale and exhale through the nostrils as much as possible. Check in with your feet. And feel your center. Hold yourself up. Hold yourself up. Hold yourself open. All right, y'all. Thank you so much. Level 3, Foundation are centers, Elementally Intuitive Movement 101, which is week 3, not level 3. We are back at level O, back to the basics. So we have 3 weeks, or you can take more. You don't have to rush through this. You can take your time. I'm producing at the pace that I can produce it, and I know that some people may be able to digest it, but it's there for you to digest at your pace, because everybody is different. And feel free to take as much time as you need, because part of this is learning to savor your experience in your vessel. And it's okay to go slowly. When we go slowly, we get to savor and experience more. We have more time to process and take in more information. The more information we take in, the more practice we have at processing that information that we're taking in. Yeah, elementally functional family fitness. Thank you so much.